The Prime Minister has confirmed that the UK government will consider the case for the introduction of so-called vaccine passports.
I'm not an investigator. I don't want to check. Excuse me, Jim, have you got your pass? Excuse me, Fred, have you got your certificate?
At the end of last year, government ministers vowed they would not introduce COVID passes, rightly branding them as discriminatory and wrong, and warning private companies not to even think about it.
Urge businesses listening to this debate today not to even think about this.
But behind the scenes, they were offering lucrative contracts to health tech companies to develop the very passes they were publicly promising would not feature in British life. COVID passes are discriminatory, divisive and wrong. We're leading the fight against them. Here are 5 reasons why we will never accept their use. Number 1, they're unnecessary. The UK's vaccination drive has been hugely successful, with 95% of vulnerable groups vaccinated and the majority of the adult population vaccinated in just a few months. These statistics, coupled with the extremely high rate of protection that a vaccine offers, means that the risk to public health is reducing all the time. A functioning test and trace system is vital to support those who've been infected with coronavirus or who may have been exposed. But now is not the time to treat the entire population as potentially infectious and remodel society around lessening risk, especially in a way that would have such a disastrous long-term impact on our rights and freedoms. We can't get out of this nightmare divided. Events and businesses are either safe to open for everyone or for no one. Number 2, they're discriminatory. Segregation wouldn't be a side effect of COVID passes. It would be the whole point of them. Introducing COVID passes would create a 2-tier society of haves and have-nots, where those without a vaccine, recent test result, or antibodies will be prevented from going to some events or businesses, potentially stopped from working, and denied their basic rights and freedoms. This would come down hardest on already marginalised and vulnerable communities, and it would discriminate against young people who are not routinely offered the vaccine, and against some people with certain disabilities or underlying health conditions, which means they are unable to be vaccinated. Number 3, they're counterproductive. Research shows that compelling people to have vaccines does not necessarily increase uptake. The UK has some of the most positive attitudes towards vaccinations in Europe. The Europeans with the most negative attitudes towards vaccinations include countries that have mandatory vaccination policies: Hungary, Slovakia, and Croatia. Coercion creates distrust, and trust is key to public health. Government scientific advisors have warned that if vaccines are viewed as compulsory, vaccine hesitancy may increase. There's a real danger that COVID passes could backfire. Number 4, they will create a checkpoint society. The UK has a proud history of opposition to ID cards. We are not a papers-carrying society. But COVID passes would undo that legacy. We would have to carry a state-sanctioned freedom pass just to enjoy normal life. COVID passes would mean sharing personal health information with anyone in authority who demands it, from bouncers to bosses. It's unthinkable that once this checkpoint infrastructure has been built at huge financial and social cost, it will be dismantled again. Throughout history, emergency measures have often become permanent, and COVID passes would doubtlessly morph into a generalised freedom pass. Number 5, they'd expand the surveillance state. Proposals for COVID passes must be viewed in the context of the ever-growing surveillance state and the data exploitation that comes with it. We're increasingly categorised, monitored and tracked across every area of our lives, from border control to law enforcement and generalised surveillance. COVID passes would normalise population-level health surveillance and segregation like never before. It's critical that every one of us says it loudly and clearly: we will never accept COVID ID cards in the UK. Now is the time to act, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're building the biggest possible campaign against COVID passes, and we'll take legal action as soon as necessary. Visit our crowdfunder to join the challenge against COVID passes now.